Welcome your host, Caddy Frink, as she leads discussions about substance use disorder and the journey to recovery. You're listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
Well, hello in Radio Land. My name is Caddy Frink. I'm with Redefining Recovery Revolution. And I am with Wendy Jones. And see, this is a moment in time that I don't know that I'm absolutely excited about. But see, she used to be my boss. And so now we're just kind of like having a moment here. So again, my name is Caddy Frink. I am not with AM 950. I'm on AM 950, the progressive radio station. And I represent Minnesota Recovery Connection. And across the table from me, I said your name, but who are you?
Well, Caddy Frink, I'm Wendy Jones.
And what do you do?
I am the executive director of the Minnesota Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations, also known as MARCO.
Oh, the ever-loving Marco.
Yes.
The dream of Wendy Jones has birthed its place. Well, what we do first is we talk about what's right with us. And, I got to tell a quick story. I was at Costco Business Center several months ago. I know now and I've got you in the Costco.
Yeah,
now,
you
I
do
don't
now.
know that I did it, but you did it. And one of their salespeople came up to me a while back and looked at me and she goes, "And what's right with you?" Like literally, I was like, okay. You've listened to the show. She's yep. It's like, okay, now I'm on task. Now I get it. So what's right with you, Wendy Jones?
What's right with me? Well, it's Friday.
Woohoo!
The weather is beautiful.
For sure.
And what starts next week, Caddy Frink?
Tell us, Wendy, what is it?
It's the Minnesota State Fair.
Oh, my goodness. And why is it so important to you?
It's the Great Minnesota Get-Together. I love the fair. I always have. And my claim to fame is that my husband and I got married on the fairgrounds many years ago. We had a state fair themed wedding with food on a stick, and we had cows, fiberglass cows. We had people wearing pig ear hats. It was something, let me tell you.
I have seen the picture, you all, and it is something to behold. So the smile.
We have our wedding portrait in crop art. My hair is toasted pine needles.
Oh, my Lanta. I don't think I have seen that.
You've seen it. You just don't remember.
Okay, I need to see it again.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So ask me.
Yes. Oh, Caddy, what's right with you today?
Thank you, Wendy. What's right with me? Again, it's Friday. Yes, this is airing on Saturday, but we're recording on Friday. But that is all well with it. It is nice. It is sunny. It is almost too dry. Not almost too dry. It's way too dry. For the gardener in the world, I'm just having to water all the time. But I get to see some friends.
Yeah.
And it's one of those weekends that I don't have a lot on the docket.
Mm-hmm.
And those are kind of the best weekends because then it's like task time and nap time.
Oh.
And then they sort of roll consecutively.
Task nap.
Yes.
And there are a few cats involved too, aren't there?
Well, there could be, yes. As I was working from home today, I was in my little office in my back porch and I was going to go sit in my big comfy chair. Oh no, stretched out Morky right in the whole back of this chair. I was like, well, we can't disrupt the cat.
No.
I mean, it's against the rules.
It is.
So we are both cat moms.
Yes, we are.
And we are proud cat moms.
Yes.
So, Wendy, it's been a long time coming to have you here. I feel like I'm established. I can be in front of you without losing my nerve because I have worked with Wendy for how many years?
Oh my gosh. 8, 9, maybe?
9-ish.
Yeah. Something like that.
So I admire this woman. I respect this woman. This woman has given me so many breaks and so many tips to be successful. She is more than likely literally why I'm sitting right here. But even though I found out from Jennifer, who is the marketing person here, she said to me one day when I came in, she said, "Caddy, did you ever reach out to us in the past?" I said, "I don't know, did I?" She went up to one of those lateral filing cabinets, opened up, and there's my name. I had approached them years ago about doing a show.
Oh my gosh.
And I opened it up and I was thinking about a show back in the day called Funny, Sexy, Sober.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was my spiel then.
Yeah.
Nobody took it. That's fine because my day hadn't come yet, but
And
I'm
it's
here
today.
Well, and Wendy was part of all of sort of generating the energy around this. And so
Well, Caddy, I think you were part of the energy around this. So you're selling yourself short and giving me far too much credit.
Well,
so.
there was a conversation that started while you were so with Minnesota
Yeah.
Recovery Connection, which I think just sort of oiled the machine and got me to what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I've told the story too many times. The listeners are going to go, oh, God, here she goes again. But, Cynthia came to me and she goes, Caddy, we were talking to AM 950, the progressive radio station. They're wondering if we know anybody who wants to be a show host. I said, I do. Started to cry like a baby. So you're a state fair junkie.
Yes.
In all the best of ways.
Yes.
You are the leader of Marco.
Yes.
So what does Marco do for the recovery community? Because that's why we're here.
It is. So Marco, our mission is to advocate, educate, and mobilize resources to grow the grassroots recovery movement across Minnesota.
Not that she's ever said that before.
I've never said that before. And so we really believe that recovery starts in communities.
Yep.
And that recovery community organizations like Minnesota Recovery Connection are the hubs. They're critical hubs for that. And so Marco is a statewide organization. We grew sort of organically as a lot of different individual recovery community organizations started to work together and figure things out and advocate collectively. And that grew into Marco, which eventually became its own 501c3 nonprofit. And our role now is we do have an official role with the state where we provide a certification for recovery community organizations. And you do need a Marco certification to be eligible for a variety of things. Doing stuff. Well, you have to be an RCO to get certified. Once you're certified, that opens up other funding streams. But we also do a lot of public education throughout the year, advocacy events. We're not just working with RCOs, we're working across communities to try to build those connections. And we've hosted a few town halls to help to elevate voices for in different communities around recovery. So education, advocacy, and then that peer support that we do is really organizational peer support.
Yeah. Well, Wendy was just telling me before we came in here that she's going to drop some new requirements on us as recovery community organizations. But part of the reason why I think that's so important is that a lot of recovery organizations in general have really gotten a bad taste in their mouth because of some of the fraud and abuse that have taken place.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that is so important to me about, of course, knowing Wendy, but also knowing what she's doing for the recovery community is giving it some guardrails. Because guardrails are important. And for those who are listening, who are not necessarily part of our community, but hear about these organizations out there, and it's like, well, are they doing bad things? It's like, there are things that happen in every business everywhere, but people in recovery are really good-hearted. I mean, we don't want to mess it up. We don't want to do it wrong. But sometimes somebody doesn't know what they're doing or might know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
But that's why when Wendy back in the day had the dream about having this, like I call it an umbrella over all of these recovery community organizations, gave us the ability to do the best we can because we are community based. We are just like, what do you need? Because we'll figure it out. How do you want to do it? We'll help you figure it out. Do you have any idea what you want to do? That's fine. We'll help you figure that out too.
Well, really having resources and being able to share those with each other. So collaboration is really at the heart of this. As Marco was emerging, there is a tendency to kind of want to, fight with each other over resources.
Yeah.
And I think the big shift happened when we all realized we're stronger together.
than buy a part. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting having lived through that shift that's taken place. Now it's like we are a community, so let's make sure we are a community, because if we don't have one another, we are at a loss versus we are going to win something outside of that. So we're going to take our first break, and I want to say thank you, Wendy. She's here. My name is Caddy Frink. I'm your host of Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution here on AM 950, the progressive radio station. When we come back, we're going to hear a little bit more about Wendy Jones and kind of what brought her to this world that we are in, because she's got a cool history. So thank you for listening. We'll see you on the other side. So we've got some new music, and it just seems to be really easy listening. So welcome back to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution here on AM 950, the progressive radio station, brought to you by Minnesota Recovery Connection. Who's across the table from me?
It's Wendy Jones.
Oh, Wendy Jones!
From MARCO, the Minnesota Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations.
Oh, she's so good, you all. I mean, this is a woman who I have been in the midst with for so many years. And I say it, and I say it with pride, has made me stronger, made me better, given me confidence, given the community so much strength and respect and so much all of that. So just take it all, because it's all so true. She's kind of doing the side eye on me, but
I am.
It's all very true. And so we've got MARCO is established. We have that. That's sort of been the dream of Wendy Jones for many years while working as an executive director at Minnesota Recovery Connection, helping develop all these recovery community organizations. I'll just give it to all of them, all of them.
Very few.
but pivotable, really, really important to help them get their boots on the ground and do the job that they want to.
Yeah.
But what brought you into this little recovery world? Because you got kind of a long history with a couple of organizations. And
yeah, most people don't. They do a double take when I tell them what my prior career was. So first of all, I am a person in long-term recovery.
Yes, you are.
And I have been in recovery for many, many years. I no longer give a date, but say it was sometime in the last century.
Yes. Kind of give it that qualification.
It's been a while. But I worked for 30 years for the Minnesota Historical Society. So,
and she is a history
junkie. I'd get the staff together at Minnesota Recovery Connection and start giving the history on something, and I would just see the eyes glaze over. So then I knew I was doing my job.
As well as we'll talk about the printer as well.
Yes. Oh, the eyebrows with the printer. Are you making color copies? Those are expensive.
It's a thing, y'all. She's got the most aggressive but beautiful eyebrows in the world.
You can share that with the staff I had at the History Center, because I gave them the same spiel about color copies.
I'm still cautious to this day.
But yes, so I worked for 30 years for the Minnesota Historical Society. My first job there was as a tour guide at the state capitol. And I was really fortunate. I had different jobs there throughout the years, ended up working in the education area to open the History Center in 1992, was part of the team that developed Mill City Museum when that opened in the early 2000s. And when I left, I was the director of education there.
I didn't know that you had Mill City Museum under your belt.
Yeah.
Look at you, unfolding still to this day.
Still a woman of mystery. So yes, and it was a wonderful career. I was there during a time of great creativity and innovation and building, and I'm so grateful for that career that I had. But it really was the only place I had ever worked as a professional, other than, I was a waitress at Chi-Chi's back in the 80s.
Ooh, anybody who's old enough to know Chi-Chi's, it is a thing.
So in 2017, there was some reorganization happening at the Historical Society, and it was an opportunity to, if I'm ever going to do anything else, this is the time. Mm-hmm. And so I took advantage of a situation to, basically have some payout to be able to transition
Yeah.
to a different career. And so I started volunteering a whole bunch of places.
Oh,
And
like where?
like Minnesota Recovery Connection.
Oh.
Because I thought, hey, I'm in recovery. And I stumbled across this organization. I thought their mission was really, really amazing. I had not been familiar with the concept of recovery community organizations before. And the whole commitment to community, to advocacy, to education really resonated with me. And so even before I left the Historical Society, I went through the training there with Chris Kelly, the legendary Chris Kelly, to be a volunteer recovery coach. And the training, there are few moments in my life where something has just blown my mind and completely changed how I think about things.
Been there, done that, same reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that training, even though I was not going to become a recovery coach, I was going to use it to volunteer.
Yeah.
Complete paradigm shift for me, because my personal recovery had been very isolated. I really wasn't part of a recovery community.
Talk a little bit about just what your substance abuse was. Just like where did you came in? You've been in recovery for a long time, and it's hard for those of us who've had a long recovery story, but that's still part of the picture. So you're in recovery, but what brought you to? What was a little bit of the backstory there?
Yeah, so I had alcohol use disorder, and but it was very high functioning. I kept advancing in my career, but all the signs were there. I was I found out later that this is more of a female thing, but I was a real private drinker. And, and I was going deep into debt, and my health was not good. And the people who were closest to me started to like, something is wrong here. And I really credit my best friend, Laura, who had been living in a different city, but she had just moved back to St. Paul with her family. And she saw it right away.
Wow.
And it was the threat of losing her as a friend that was kind of my wake up call.
Yep.
And I remember you talk about having recovery capital. Like, I had health insurance.
Yeah.
I had support. I was employed. I had a roof over my head.
You had all the things you needed.
I had all the things I needed, but it was still terrifying because there was no information. So the only thing I knew to do was to call my healthcare provider. And I basically, I waited for a day when I knew this one office was going to be empty so that I could use that phone. Because, we worked in cubes.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to,
Hi, my name's Wendy. I'm an alcoholic.
have my office mate. It was deeply stigmatizing. You didn't tell anybody.
Well, and then let's just say one thing, and this is the difference about the current day and people struggling with substance use disorder and when you and I found recovery back in the day. I mean, I'm 25 years, you're a little more than that. But it was a different world then to talk about it. So you having to kind of be somewhat secretive, kind of off to the side. So everybody like change your brain about it. Cause 25 years since you and I both drank, it's a different world.
It's a very different world. And I'm so lucky that my insurance got me connected with a therapist who it was a woman, and she kind of assessed where I was, and she said, the
ever-loving,
and this is nothing against 12 steps. Works great for a lot of people, but she kind of could pick up on who I was and what I was about, and she said 12 steps sometimes, a lot of times, don't work for women. Like AA isn't always great for women.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, the first premise is about, admitting you're powerless. And that's not such a big step for most women, which is true. And I had, because I would drive past, I'd see the houses and people outside, smoking the cigarettes. And to me, that wasn't a welcoming environment.
Yep.
And so she recommended a different program. I think there's still an operation called Create, which their model was that you set your goals, and that goal doesn't necessarily have to be sobriety.
Right.
While you're in treatment, you're not to use, but their goal was for you to find chemical health. And at that time, the thought of never having a drink again was terrifying.
Terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. It was probably the biggest barrier to me stopping.
Yeah.
And so for them to say, you can do this for a little while. The goal isn't that you'll never have a drink again. The goal is that you have a healthy relationship with alcohol. And, 6 months into the therapy, and it was a one-to-one counselor. Mary was her name. I'll always remember her. She was the best. And they also said you could do a group, but the group is all men, or you could do one-to-one counseling.
I think I'll go with one-to-one. Thank you very much.
With one-to-one, and I got into it and I developed skills.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I realized, I can't have a healthy relationship with alcohol. But by that time, I had developed skills. I also started running then. That for me was, I remember going to Lake Como one of the first nights without using alcohol and just trying to make it around that lake. And so running, especially in those first decade or so, was a big part of my recovery.
It gives you that dopamine. It gives
Exactly.
you that. It gives you what you're kind of no, I shouldn't say that. What you're going after with that alcohol, just that kick. You want a little something, something, and that's what running did.
It did. And it gave you like a way to use your energy.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So yes, that's a long, long story, but it's a little bit different. I didn't follow a path like others do. And I had friends that stayed with me. My drinking buddies found out first, but they were okay with that. And they stayed with me, and we changed how we lived our lives. And so, yes, I was very isolated in my recovery. I didn't really have a sense of recovery community. And then when I volunteered and went through the recovery coach training, I really understood the massive impact of stigma, the intersection of economic and racial inequities, the relationship with our carceral system, and I saw how it really touches every single aspect of our society.
Everywhere, everyhow.
Everywhere. You can't pull a single string and not come back to this issue of substance use and substance use disorder, and how the most energy, the most long-term effective change seems to be when, and it doesn't seem to be, it is, that efficacy, when an individual is empowered to do things for themselves, and you're making that change in community, and that ripples out and
so many ways,
creating this supportive environment. So working in the history field for so long, we really, it was a value there that people should tell their own stories. That,
for sure. Yeah.
Community-based history. And so that community engagement that I had kind of grown up with at the Minnesota Historical Society, and in both engaging people in history and empowering people to tell their own history, that transferred remarkably well to Minnesota Recovery Connection. And as I was volunteering, one day, Chris Kelly sat across from me. We were having coffee, and she said, "You should be the executive director here."
And for some reason, you said, sure.
I was like, I don't have a background in behavioral health. And I said, I know nonprofit operations. And she said, well, I think that's what they need more right now. And so that first year or so, really learning all the acronyms and I often say it's like I maybe had, like a year of French in high school, and then you go to France and you can occasionally recognize one word. That was sort of like me that first, like, I think I understand that word. Oh, I understood that word.
Yeah. Well, there's so many nuances to recovery, and there's so many different ways that people engage in it.
Yeah.
And when you were talking, I was thinking about the whole History Center is about bringing people together to look at stuff and, like you say, tell their stories, but it's all about community. And I mean, it was literally like a natural path, but you got to, it was personal at the same time. You got
Right.
to, envelop yourself and say, I'm one of these people. I'm part of history too, but you're one of these people. And that community part is so critical.
It is.
And I think that's when I took the class in 16. And I was like, there's all these people that are like me, but but they're different. But wait a minute, it was like trying to find that next connection. Cause I did do AA. I didn't do treatment. I didn't do that whole thing because that wasn't my jam. But I did the AA thing, and then, but that community wasn't what I needed anymore. And
Right.
then I found MRC, similarly, and it's just a whole new world opens up.
Right. And that just illustrates that, again, there's no wrong door.
Never.
And different environments, different supports work well for different people. So, and sometimes you phase out and move on to something else.
Well, and that's what I've said before, and that is, and some people agree with me and some don't. And that is, there might be a time when you are in your early recovery, you call yourself clean, and that's a lot of where the language falls within a lot of the traditional things. And then you're sober, and then now I feel as though I've moved on to a woman who's in recovery from substance use disorder, and alcohol was my substance, and it gets a longer description because I've moved along.
Yeah.
And I can see that obviously for you.
Well, it's, because I was never secretive, but sometimes I would just have to tell people. And I always hated using the word alcoholic. Like I could barely get it out of my mouth. I didn't know any other word though. But even before I went through the MRC training, there was something there that stuck with me. And I think it's because I was labeling myself with something that I knew there was so much stigma around. And the funny thing is, like, you have to defend why you're not drinking.
Exactly.
And that happened so often where you're in environments and people would not accept, like, oh, come on, just have a drink. Or why aren't you drinking? Are you pregnant? And sometimes I would just say, no, I'm an alcoholic.
Or you have to make up a story.
Right.
And I mean, I think after a while, most of my friends hung around with me, 99% of them, and they got it. But then you go to a public party or you go to a public event, and now it's easier. I mean,
it is.
I mean, and this is where, when I always talk about the people who are listening to us, because there's the current audience of individuals, the young people and the 20s and 30s that are in their maybe their early recovery, or they're in their second or third or fourth year. But then there are that whole group of folks that are at 10 and 15, 20 and then up and beyond. And how we looked at what it was like back then and to where it is now. I mean, I'm so grateful for me just hanging out at Minnesota Recovery Connection because I've seen this incredible transformation and this incredible acceptance. And then we're also in a huge crisis too.
Yeah.
So, but that stigma does get to change when you say, I have a problem with substances. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a drug addict. I got a problem with substances and it's messed up my life. And then people say, okay, now what do you need? So we just changed the whole concept that people struggle, but that doesn't mean that we have to make them feel bad about it.
Exactly.
And it's been the greatest gift to me. I mean, I do classes all the time and I learn more from them sometimes. I mean, I can do my training and I love it. And I love to give them the information and watch their eyes and their humanity sort of change in a week. But then when we get to have these rich conversations about like what's going on out there, and how are they transitioning? It is just rich. It is rich. And I think that's where you and I both come from, like long careers in retail and dealing with people and having to make things work well. When we see people grow and we see the change and we see this thing happening, it's like remarkable.
It's beautiful when you see people feeling okay talking about it. I mean, it's as basic as that.
Yeah.
And that starts to trickle into your relationships and your family. And sometimes that's the hardest thing is just to be able to talk about it because others are fearful they're going to say the wrong thing. You're fearful they're going to judge you and shame you.
And should you?
And to just kind of, hey, this is what it is. It's a chronic illness. I didn't choose to have this.
Right.
I am responsible for my own behavior and I have choices in how I manage it. But I want your support. I want you to understand that.
And come along on my journey. And I think that's the important part. And, people who are listening, who either have loved ones or people who are in their recovery and they still feel that stigma or they feel that community judgment, or you go someplace and somebody says, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. It's like, you know what? I'm on my journey. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it's really about giving people the freedom to express themselves and be who they want to be. Because there's so many times if people do traditional programs, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. But sometimes that doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And that's where these recovery community organizations and talking about, the language and talking about your journey and talking about I'll meet you where you're at. And I see you for who you are.
It makes you a better human.
Yeah. Yeah.
In many ways, because it is getting to that premise of I've never walked in your shoes. And what worked for me, how I experience things, I cannot in any way, shape, or form assume that that's the same for you. And to transfer my experience onto you is a barrier.
Yeah. What it does is it puts potential self-shame on someone, because that's exactly what we talk about all the time. And what you just said is so important, because the way I did it is mine.
Exactly.
And with the way you want to do it, tell me. Give me an idea what that looks like, because then you become the person that maybe you lost or got lost or is you haven't seen for years, but your family still sees. And that's where families and friends and partners and all that, they knew us maybe kind of the way we used to be. And then we got into this weird space and your friend Laura was like, oh, Wendy, Wendy, I'm seeing something doesn't fit. It happened with me too. And it's like, they have this history, but they're scared about us. They're fearful of what could happen to us. And that's, your friend and my friends too.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't tell us what to do though, because we're going to push back on that because we're already judging ourselves so harshly.
Which is why peer support is so invaluable.
Magical.
Because of that empathy, that shared experience, and the not that they're a peer is going to say you should do what I did, but that they've experienced the same stigma that you have had. They've had to navigate those systems, and they can bring that expertise in addition to the empathy to supporting you on your journey. Because it can be a very solitary journey.
Well, a lot of people go dark because they don't fit into any place anymore. And it's just like when we can say to someone, my story isn't the same as yours, but I do know how it feels. It feels really hard and it feels really scary. And that can actually just melt somebody a little bit, because somebody, as you say, empathizes with them, but just goes, and we get a look in our eye when we say, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. And somebody goes, okay, it's not just me, because there's such a loneliness to when you are trying to figure out the next steps. Just one step is so hard. I mean, when you talked about the idea of you not having alcohol anymore, it's like, how am I going to do that? And I always equate to, that's the friend that you could always rely on. Whether it had good outcomes, bad outcomes, you were hungover, you were not hungover, you showed up for work, you didn't show up to work, you knew what to expect from that friend, whatever it's drugs or alcohol, whatever it was. And that friend is not a good, reliable one, but Laura was, and my team was too. Those are the ones we need to rely on. But boy, it's hard to give up that friendship.
Well, and it's masking what's underneath.
And that's what we're always doing.
Right. Yeah. So stopping drinking was just the beginning
of the journey.
Yes. And so then you have to figure out what was that covering up.
Yep.
And so I often look back, that first year of recovery was the easiest because everything is fresh and new.
You feel good.
Feel good. It was the second year, you're still dealing with the same issues and problems, and you're not turning to what was masking that. So that's when you really, for me, really started to learn some of those new skills about how to manage stress or how to overcome my sense of perfectionism.
No.
I know.
Yeah, well, and it makes me think about when you talk about your story and my story, I had the justice impacted part where I had the DWI and I had the consequences of those. So then, as you said, as we talk about, there's all these layers that come to wanting to stop use your chemical, but then there's just these barriers, but then there's these other things that you did or somebody did to you.
Oh, they haunt you.
And
staying in recovery
is about
while you're dealing with those things that are still haunting you.
Oh,
that's a great place for peer support.
Exactly, because we've all been haunted by stuff wherever we are. As you can hear, we're taking our next break. So when we come back, Wendy Jones and I are going to talk about the Walk for Recovery and some of the history behind it, because we've been from one end of the spectrum to the other. And COVID. So thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution. My name is Caddy Frink, your host, and we'll be back. Got a little jam going on there here on Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution. Yeah, recovery jam.
Smooth recovery.
Yes, keep it easy, keep it simple. Welcome back to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution here on AM 950. Who's across the table?
Wendy Jones.
Wendy Jones.
From Marco.
What's Marco?
The Minnesota Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations.
The umbrella for recovery community organizations in the state of Minnesota, which we have how many of?
Oh my gosh. We have 29 certified RCOs, and then there are more beyond that. So.
And we'll quickly mention that. And then when Wendy and I are going to talk about the Walk for Recovery, just because there's a big journey that we both have been through on that. But one of the most important things that I value, what Wendy has been able to put together that I've been able to be a part of on a small scale, is there is recovery everywhere.
Literally.
There is recovery everywhere. But sometimes you have to find it. You have to look for it. The organizations that do it and their advertisements are all over, that's one thing. But there are these marvelous organizations that sit in communities that are there to help you. And that is what a recovery community organization, nonprofit, all based on peer services and all the community resources that they have. So if you're somebody struggling or you know somebody who's struggling, wherever you are in the state, and Wendy's going to talk a little bit about their statewide adventure they have, just know that there's so much help out there, and it can look the way you want it to, and that's what we do. So I just wanted to give a plug for what you do and what we do, because that's the important part. So we have the Walk for Recovery coming up on September 12th from 10 to 3 at the state capitol. 10 food trucks, a bounce house for the kiddos, a recovery pets area. At this point, we have about 100 community member and sponsors that are going to be there. We'll probably have some more. We've got water that we're giving away for free. We've got a brand new t-shirt with our brand new marketing campaign on it.
The world's largest recovery photo on the steps of the Minnesota State Capitol.
And not that she's proud of that one, because that's what we get to do. Because to me, that's advocacy. We've always said that. That's the advocacy moment that we get to all be together. But the journey that I started on and you started on with Walk for the Recovery was at Lake of the Isles.
Yeah. So the Walk for Recovery, Minnesota Recovery Connection started it before either you or I.
Oh yeah, before
back in the Nell Hurley and Julia Alexander days, the Monique Bourgeois days, at Lake of the Isles. And so September is National Recovery Month,
and the color is purple.
The color is purple. Yeah, I was at Lake of the Isles for, I want to say 8 years.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that many years, because I came in as it sort of wrapped its days up. I think we had 2 there.
We moved it to the state capitol in 2019.
Was it 19?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oof.
I know, but it outgrew Lake of the
Oh
Isles.
my goodness, did it
So,
outgrow?
yeah.
Yeah. So now we're at the state capitol, and it's a great event. And Wendy and I pounded the pavement at the state capitol for a couple of years. Every now and then, shouting match, little every now and then, a little discontent on how it should go together. But the fact is that was the important part, is that we had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And now I can honestly say, with the support of what Wendy put in place before she left as the executive director at Minnesota Recovery Connection, it's pretty smooth. There's always a bump along the line. And if not, because that's where recovery is. Got to like overcome the bumps.
You figure it out.
You would figure it out.
Yeah.
So tell us about Marco's recovery around the state. What does that look like?
So we want to remind people that recovery is everywhere and that recovery community organizations are those local hubs. And so this year we're launching a recovery road trip campaign.
Woo-woo!
So go to marcomin.org and check it out. So it's the one-stop location to find recovery events in September. We're featuring 12 throughout the state of Minnesota, starting with overdose awareness events on Overdose Awareness Day on August 31st. And so it's going down to Rochester for their event, to the Twin Cities for Minnesota Recovery Connections event, to Grand Rapids and St. Cloud and Duluth and Mankato. And so there are great community-based recovery events all over the state. And I encourage, wherever you are in the state, check out our calendar, go participate. They're all free. They are great places to get connected to local resources. And the most important thing, I think, is that there's just no shame.
No judgment.
They are so welcoming.
Yeah.
I've been to Recovery Month events around the state, and I get teary-eyed at every single one of them because everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Everybody is there for a different reason. There are people who have lost loved ones who come to these events, and they don't want that to happen to somebody else.
Yes.
They are there. And we remember those that we've lost to this disease. So that's a big part of these events. There are those there who are modeling hope because they have sustained recovery for a week, a month, 6 months, a year, a decade, 3+ decades, or more.
Yeah.
And no matter what that length of time is, it shows that recovery is possible.
Yeah.
And it's not just possible, it is the probable outcome. When people have the support that they need, it is one of the most curable diseases.
Right.
You will recover. But the problem is stigma, lack of access to appropriate resources, lack of knowledge about the disease. And so that's why these are great events, to be around people who will just embrace you, love you, share with you. And even if you are curious and you think, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do this. You're welcome.
Well, and I also think one of the things that we've talked about over the years is there's all the allies out there. There's all the people who love the people that have struggled, those who have passed away from whatever there is. Even people who are just sort of curious on, is there something I can do for a family member?
Yep.
Are there organizations out there that can help me? I was up at our Fridley office listening to Jody, one of our CPRS's certified peer recovery specialist, and she was talking to a woman who was calling about her husband. And she was just offering her compassion and, here's some ideas in your area. And there are people who come that are looking for help for their people that they love or they need help. And I think that's the thing that I always talk about on this show. And that is, we can talk to our community and we can embrace them, but there's all the other people that ripple effect has happened to: families, parents and children and grandparents and aunts and uncles and workers and bosses and it's this is for everybody. This whole recovery journey is all about, can we make it less, as you said, stigmatizing, and an important issue to deal with, not be afraid of. It's scary, but not to be afraid of, because we can get better.
And that's what these events do, is they not only provide a place for us to honor and celebrate our friends and family who've been with us throughout this, but it's a place for anyone who also may have friends or family that they're not sure what to do or how to help. So it's all are welcome, and it makes you a stronger ally too.
Yeah.
And also recognizing the professionals who serve this community. Recovery Month events also are a way to honor the profession of people who support those
and the organizations. Many times, we must say, we have to be very, very transparent. We also need some funding to help keep these organizations alive. So if you are there and you can drop a few dollars or many dollars or donate or have a walking team or know community members that can help us, we're always looking for that too. So I have to acknowledge that. We're about to wrap up. I always have to say thank you to a current person who is keeping this show going right now. The initials of that person are MK, for who they are. And I just want to say, Wendy Jones, it has been a pleasure.
It is always a pleasure to spend time with you, Caddy Frink. And I will just say I have learned so much from Caddy as well. So you are one of the joys of my existence in this field, and a lifelong friend now as well.
Oh, gosh, golly jeepers. On that beautiful note, thank you, Wendy, for being here. And thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution here on AM 950. Remember, September 12th is our Walk for Recovery. September 15th is our Twins game. And our Gratitude Breakfast, September